Initially, I just wanted to lose weight, and I always had it in the back of my head, oh, maybe I can compete and try it at some point, but at first it was just to lose weight, so I'm like, I might as well try amateur now. I'll regret it if I don't at least try. It's funny, I actually lost, and that's one of the reasons I think I kept going. Because if I had won, maybe I would have been like, okay, goodbye. If you don't have a good amateur career, you're just gonna get thrown in to get knocked out. Maybe the promoter wants the hometown guy to win or something. I have to win before I stop fighting at least. And I won my second fight, and it just became addicting. I quit my job and I started working full-time at the gym. I was helping manage the front desk, and being a professional fighter was my job. The Thais, the way they train the young fighters here is brutal. It was a hard fight, 5 rounds, a lot of back and forth, a lot of technique.
Welcome to the Superhuman Blueprint Podcast.
Welcome, Andrew Capurro, to the Superhuman Blueprint Podcast.
Hello.
I haven't seen you. Well, let's see. So we trained at Pacific Ring Sports in Oakland, California together, which was Muay Thai boxing, and back then they had a little bit of BJJ. I think they've amped it up since then. You and I used to do Muay Thai together, and I think we started about the same time. I started late 2007 or early 2008, somewhere right around there. Does that sound about right for you?
Yeah, I started in 2008. Okay. So you might have started a little bit before me, but
yeah. Maybe a couple months ahead of you, but pretty much the same time. Yeah. So so this is super cool because we kind of learned Muay Thai together. And you've stuck with it. So what is this, 16 years later, you're still doing Muay Thai, and now you're fighting in Thailand, and you've been there for what, a couple of years? Stop wasting time with mediocre supplements. Kion is the real deal. I personally have tested countless products over the years, and Kion's unwavering commitment to quality and research truly sets them apart from the rest. Kion's Aminos product is my go-to workout recovery drink. Unlike the junk BCAAs that most people use, Kion Aminos includes all 9 essential amino acids, ensuring comprehensive support for muscle recovery and growth. This complete amino acid profile means you're giving your body exactly what it needs to repair and build muscle, enhance endurance, and optimize overall performance. What really impresses me about Kion is their dedication to clean ingredients. Every product is formulated with purity and potency in mind, free from unnecessary fillers, artificial additives, and harmful chemicals. You can trust that what you're putting into your body is of the highest quality, supporting your health and fitness goals without compromise. Their essential amino acids and creatine are staples in my routine. The boost in performance and recovery is honestly undeniable. The creatine helps to enhance strength and power during workouts, while the essential amino acids promote efficient recovery and muscle repair. I also cycle in their protein, colostrum, and various other products for a well-rounded approach to nutrition and wellness. Take your health seriously and upgrade your supplement game with Kion. Visit primalwellnesscoaching.com/Kion, that's Kion, primalwellnesscoaching.com/Kion, and get $20 off your first order of $80 or more. Feel the Kion difference for yourself and experience the boost in performance, recovery, and overall well-being that comes with using the best supplements on the market.
Over 2 years now. I went home like in between for about 2.5 months, but it's been a pretty constant 2.5 years over here.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I haven't seen or talked to you since I stopped training at Pacific Ring Sports, which let's see, I left Oakland and moved to Oregon in 2011, so that would be the last time. So it's been a minute.
Yeah, that's when I started competing, around then. But like when I met you, I was just training, just learning,
right?
You know? So like, I remember we were like pad holder friends too. You know?
Training partners, right?
I was just a beginner.
Then, same. You know? I was coming out of like living a life kind of that I thought was restricted by having asthma, and then I just started doing Muay Thai, and all of a sudden the asthma wasn't the problem anymore, which is amazing. So that was a period of me coming into knowing that I could actually be physical active without triggering an asthma attack and, having to back off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we both kind of came into it at the same time. And like you said, yeah, around the time I left was around the time that you started to compete. Cause I don't remember you competing at all when I was there. So when like years later, I don't remember. I think I was, maybe I was following Pacific Ring Sports on social media or something. And I saw you on there and I was like, holy shit, it's Andrew. He's still around and he's a fighter.
Yeah. Initially I just wanted to lose weight, and like, I always had it in the back of my head, like, oh, maybe I can compete, try it at some point. But at first it was just to lose weight. Like, I was overweight, and like, for me, going to 24-hour fitness or something like that, it wasn't cutting it. I needed something different. And like, I knew I loved Muay Thai and kickboxing, and that would force me to like go to the gym more.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it wasn't to lose weight, but it was definitely to get in like cardiovascular shape. And it was just fun. To your point, I did it, and honestly, if I'm being perfectly honest, I still don't really like working out, even though I'm a fitness guy. But I love a good Muay Thai class.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, there are days where I don't want to train too. I'm tired, or some injury is bothering me, or like my friends are hanging out. It seems like, oh, go tomorrow. But with Muay Thai, it really, like, what, I'll do that, and then I can go do something else. At least get my training in. And even with fighting, I think that's helped a lot. Like, I never skip a training session unless I'm like really, really sick or something.
Yeah, that's amazing. Real quick, do you have your hand like close to the microphone?
I don't.
Okay.
I changed my hand, but is that better?
Yeah, I was just getting a little bit of sounded like a little bit of interference on the microphone. No worries. Technology, man. It's all good. You're
I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm in Thailand, where they don't understand that too.
Yeah. So it's all good. All right. So I want to talk about what you're doing in Thailand, but I kind of want to catch up too, because it's been 13 years. So, so you went to Muay Thai to get in shape. How did that end up evolving into like you becoming a fighter? Like, at what point did you become more engaged in Muay Thai and in the gym where we trained?
Yeah. So like, the way it's set up at Pacific Ring is we do pad work and learning, and like, then if you get better, you can do advanced class like sparring. Right. So as soon as I started sparring, I think I was okay. I wasn't anything special, but like the trainers were pushing like, oh, you want to try a smoker, and that's like an exhibition fight. Yep. It's a little bit different now, but back then, like, all the gyms would meet up and we would do like a group sparring.
They don't do that anymore?
Harder, more like a fight.
They don't do that anymore?
They're technically illegal.
They were always illegal, but they still did them.
Yeah. So like, now they do this thing called like PKB or MDL, where it's more regulated, but it's a similar like structure. Yeah. But they don't do it in a ring. They do it on the mat, and they have like officials there instead of like the trainers being the referee. It costs money. It's just a whole different thing. It's safer, I would say, but it's harder to get the like real experience. Like, when we were coming up, like, you could fight someone from another gym, friendly fight, or whatever you want to call it, and we could just do it at the gym, no problem. Now it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it was
harder to.
It was full gear. It was basically just like it was hard sparring. There was no winner per se. Like, you could always tell who won, but there was no winner in those smokers. Yeah, it was really just like practice.
So like. Yeah. I already had that in my head. Like, when I was sparring, I want to at least try that. And then after a couple of those, they're like, well, do you want to try amateur? And I had been training so much, like, for a couple of years, and I got in shape. I lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And I was getting better. So I'm like, I might as well try amateur now, like, maybe I'll regret it if I don't at least try.
Yeah.
So even my first amateur fight, I didn't think I was going to become a professional or fight a lot. I just wanted to try.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean, it's
yeah,
so a smoker. You show up. It's you're at some Muay Thai gym somewhere. You show up and you get in the ring and you have your
yeah,
full gear, right? Headgear, mouth guard, shin guards, gloves.
correct.
You go your
Yeah.
few rounds. I mean, people aren't usually getting KO'd because you're wearing headgear, so you just kind of you keep going till it's done. Um,
For the most
yeah,
part,
even for the
yeah,
most part. Usually someone's better than someone else, so you can kind of tell, but they don't really declare a winner.
yeah,
Um, when you
yeah.
go amateur, is it just gloves? Or I remember going to some fights when I was up there, and they did
Yeah.
gear in some of the fights.
So your first couple fights, you wear headgear and
Okay.
shin guards. There's different sanctioning bodies. Like maybe if you do like a tournament and you have a lot of experience, you still might wear headgear and shin guards. Like the Olympic style, the international style, like an amateur, you wear gear. But in California, at least when I was fighting amateur, if you have 4 or less fights and your opponent has 4 or less fights, you wear the
Oh, okay.
gear. But once you have 4 and your opponent has 4 or more, they take off like the shin guards and the headgear, but you still have to wear elbow pads if you're
Oh,
amateur,
really?
but they let you throw elbows.
Huh.
Yes. Yeah. So like when you become a higher level amateur or like you at least have experience, it's almost like a pro fight. There's just a few
Yeah.
changes, but you're not wearing headgear, you're not wearing shin guards. If it's a title fight, it's 5 rounds.
Okay.
It's 2-minute rounds, but it's pretty close to a professional
Yeah.
fight.
All right. So you did
Yeah.
your first amateur fight. How was that?
So it's funny. I actually lost, and that's one of the reasons I think I kept going. Because
Okay.
if I had won, maybe I would have been like,
Yeah.
okay,
Done.
like,
Did
goodbye,
that. It was great. Moving on.
Yeah, but I lost, so I told myself like, I have to win before I stop fighting at least. And I won my second fight, and it just became a big thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
first.
But the first fight was it was tough. Like I remember it was the first time I fought at 140 pounds, and I cut a lot of weight. Like I hadn't been that weight in a long time because I was like overweight for a while,
Yeah.
And it was the first time I did that. I didn't have like really good energy in the fight,
Yeah.
but I felt like it was really close. Like one little more push and I would have won.
Okay.
And a lot of people thought I won the fight. And I did some good things, but he had more experience than me. Like he had a couple fights, and he had a very flashy style. Like he would throw something spinning, and like it wouldn't necessarily land, but the crowd would be like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
So like I think it had an effect on the judges, and I was just like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
got to get that win back."
You got to learn how to
I have to at
showboat.
least get one. Yeah, I feel like you learn. Sometimes like you don't do something perfect, but you do something that looks good for the
Yeah.
judges, for the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still the same like that over here in professional fights. Like you have to do something special sometimes if it's close, to separate you from your opponent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got to ask. So the first time you got in the ring for an amateur fight without shin guards on, how terrible was that?
Yes. During the fight, honestly, it's not bad
Okay.
at all. Like I was
Adrenaline took care of that, huh?
Yeah, like before, I was like so scared because like I had never done sparring. Maybe I think I had 3 or 4 amateur fights already, and I was in Arizona too. My first non shin guard fight was in Arizona, so I was out of state. I didn't know anyone. I just went with my trainer, and I was terrified. Like I thought I was gonna break my leg or something.
Yeah.
But once we touched gloves and started fighting, it was fine. It felt free. It actually felt better. Like the shin guards actually hold you back. If you can take them off, like you might have a lot of pain after the fight, but during the fight, you're okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I am not a fighter, and I have yet to go, full contact, hard sparring without shin guards on. And like, it just, I've knocked shins just in training, and it hurts. So I have this vision of it being terrible.
Well, like in training, like you don't have the adrenaline too.
Right.
So like I feel it in training. Sometimes like we do like a technique sparring with no shin guards, but like real light, not hard and something will happen and it hurts, but then in the fight you don't feel it the same. But in a 5-round fight you start to feel it near the end. But yeah, like you said, the adrenaline, like it really helps, and you feel free. Like when you wear shin guards and headgear and all that stuff, it's like for Muay Thai, it's very limiting. I think it's not really Muay Thai, like I understand the safety and like you're a beginner and amateur, but Muay Thai is meant to be like, I think, for boxing, it makes sense to wear headgear as an amateur. But for Muay Thai, I think it doesn't make sense sometimes if you want to do real Muay Thai, like beautiful Muay Thai.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, I consider things like shin guards and headgear to be a training tool, right? So you use them while you're training, but not necessarily while you're fighting. And even so now, I mean, my journey has gone off in different directions. So now I'm a Krav Maga guy. But we still do a bit of stand-up fighting in Krav Maga, and because of my experience training at Pacific Ring Sports, and then I did Muay Thai here in Southern California for a while as well after that. I teach kind of introductory stand-up fighting, and me and the owner, we kind of go back and forth in our debate on headgear. Like I as someone that's had my nose broken 3 times in a martial arts studio, I'm a fan of headgear for myself, and also I can feel the difference in what happens to my head and my brain when I'm taking shots with and without headgear. But I get the argument that headgear it becomes a crutch, right? People don't worry about getting hit in the head, so they get a little sloppy when they got headgear on, and I see that as well. So there's definitely 2 sides to that, just from a training perspective.
I 100% agree. Like if you're a beginner too, I think it's really important to protect yourself, but once you get a little more experience, and if you're going with someone who has experience too, you can kind of play around a little bit more with no headgear or like with your technique, but you have to protect your brain, and fighting isn't necessarily something that helps you protect your brain, but at least for Muay Thai, the way it looks, like the art of it, I would say headgear is a deterrent, because you have to clinch too, like you grab their neck and their head, and it makes things harder. When you're amateur, your first couple fights, you fight 3 rounds in 2 minutes. And it's like really hard if you're wearing headgear and shin guards to be like a real Muay Thai fight. You can kind of just go forward and like you said, you don't think about what you're doing as much. You just run forward and punch and kick. But if you're not wearing shin guards, you have to time your kick. If you're not wearing headgear, you have to move your head. You have to block. You have to do things differently, and it makes it look more like real Muay Thai.
Yeah, for sure. And it becomes more of a practical skill set as well, because if you ever got in a fight on the street, chances are you're not going to be wearing a helmet. So, if you're learning to fight, you might as well learn to keep your hands up or suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
All right. So you did your amateur fights. How long do you fight amateur, or I guess, did you fight amateur before moving to the next stage?
Yeah. Pretty long, like, as a professional Muay Thai in the US it's really hard. Like if you're an amateur, especially now, it's really good. Like you can fight a lot. You can fight for belts. You can do like a lot of things. But as a professional, there's not that many shows. The pay isn't great. International and obviously Thailand is better. But like if you're in America, it's like the amateur scene is good and it's getting a lot better. But professional has a big needs to step it up a lot. So I was amateur for a long time because at first I had no aspirations of even turning pro. I just wanted to get as much experience as I could before I stopped fighting. And so I was amateur for seven years. But I was also
I was going to say, I mean, with that, you weren't fighting full time. You were
No, like as an amateur, obviously you don't make money. So it's like professional, you make money. Even if it's not a lot, you can fight for like a paycheck. Amateur, it's basically like a hobby, unless you have someone taking care of you. Like, how can you 100% commit to fighting if you're not making money? So I did that for 7 years while I was working and figuring out what I wanted to do. Like I said, it kind of snowballed. At first, I just wanted to win a fight, and then I got addicted to winning. Then I saw some other people, like my friends, winning belts, like title belts. So I was like, okay, I have to get at least one of those. And then when I won my first belt, I was like, okay, I want more than one. It kept going like that.
Addiction.
But I think about four or 5 years in, I was like, you know what, like this is like my thing. I really love this. Maybe I should go professional, or at least maybe make a move to Thailand and fight over here for a little bit. Like, these were things in my head, but it took a few years for me to like 100% commit to it.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. Yeah. It's a big commitment. I mean, when I saw that you were in Thailand and you're just there to fight, I'm like, wow. I mean, that's your life, right? That means you've dedicated your life to this. That's huge. Like most people, like what I was doing, and if you go to any Muay Thai studio, probably, and let's just say there's a population of 100 students, probably 90 of them are there to maybe learn some skills or get a workout. Maybe 10 are there to actually fight, and of those 10, maybe one would even like go the distance with that. Maybe one.
It's true, yeah. I've outlasted many like groups and generations of people at the gym. It's like there are many times too where I wanted to stop. It's like it's a very hard life, But I don't know. Something keeps me going, keeps pushing me. But I think as an amateur in the U.S., like it's actually pretty good right now. I think the U.S. is in a good spot with like the WBC is like doing a lot, and there's a better understanding of Muay Thai. Like when we started, it was a lot of older like boxing and kickboxing people, and the rules would like change all the time. And in the past 5 or so years, I would say it's really stepped up. And like in our area, well, where I'm from. In the Bay Area, there's many Thai trainers, and I fought in Los Angeles, like Southern California and other places, and now there's Thais everywhere, and former Thai fighters, Thai referees, Thai judges, or people who like foreigners like us, but like want real Muay Thai, not like some weird like kickboxing rules hybrid thing. Like they want real Muay Thai. So I think even though it's still in its beginner stages, it's getting a lot better at home.
Well, I know when we used to train at Pacific Ring Sports back when I was there, we had Coke, who was little Thai dude out of Thailand, and he was a relatively lazy instructor, but he was good. He knew his stuff, and he was fighting, so we'd go watch him fight. But Coke did one thing that stuck with me throughout the whole time that I've been a student and an instructor, and that was getting me to relax. I remember I would get in the ring for advanced class. We'd be sparring, and he'd just be like sitting on the ropes, like looking at his phone or just hanging out or whatever. But once in a while, he'd like look over and he'd get in the ring and he'd be holding a boxing glove. And he'd run over and he'd hit me with it, and he'd go, "Relax," because I'd be so tense and I would be burning myself out so fast. Relax. So I hear Coke yelling at me in my head still.
That's very Thai style. Like if you did that, the trainers over here would do the same thing. So like, Coke was my first trainer. Like my first fight was with Coke, but then we got a different Thai trainer, Ganyo. Who's like really famous actually, but Coke, like when he trained me for the fight, he was lazy. Like he was not lazy. I mean, like in class sometimes he could be like that, but he trained me so hard. Like he killed me every day. Because he has that in him too. Like the Thais, the way they train the young fighters here is brutal. Like it's brutal, and he had that in him, and I think he still wasn't Americanized. Right. So he kind of like, but after he left the gym and we got Ganyao, like Ganyao's, he taught me a lot more like
Oh,
intelligence,
okay.
like
Yeah.
technique, and like ring like a lot of. I mean, yes, he killed me too, but it was like there was more like thought behind
Yeah.
it, I
Fight
think.
intelligence is huge. That's amazing.
Yeah, and he was more passionate about the class too, like the regular class, the all levels
Yeah.
class. Like he like all business. Like he would just go in and he'd be on his phone or messing around before class, but then as soon as class started, like it's all like business, and he was already planning out his combos and like everything before,
Nice.
and like, the most professional, like it was the most professional, well organized all levels class I've ever seen, and I've been to many
Yeah.
gyms.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So how do you go from amateur to pro? Like, do you just decide you're going to go pro, or is there like a process?
pretty much. But like if you have a good trainer, they tell you like, okay, it's time to go pro, or like with me, we were actually trying to go pro at least a year or two before we actually went
Oh,
pro.
okay.
It's just there was no opportunity, like good opportunity. Like we were waiting for a good show, a good debut, a good opponent. Like something that was like proper for me, not just like some bad fight. Like a bad fight, like somewhere. Like we wanted a good fight, and like ironically, I actually made my pro debut in Oakland.
Oh, nice.
Like.
Yeah, you get the
right,
home court advantage.
At the Marriott, like 5 minutes from the gym. So like,
is that downtown
it was
Oakland?
perfect,
Oh,
downtown
no way.
Oakland.
Cool. Yeah, I know that Marriott.
Yeah. So like, yeah, everything lined up. But we were trying for about a year before that. But then I would get offers to fight amateur, like other fights. So I would take that until like the right fight came. But there's no like specific. That's one of the problems with combat sports in general, not just Muay Thai, like MMA and boxing. You can just turn pro. Like you can, like as long as there's a promoter out there that's willing to throw you in there, like you can fight
Interesting.
pro. But if you want to do it right, you need to have a good amateur career, and then your trainers say, okay, it's time to turn pro, and you go with a good promoter too. Like if you don't have a good amateur career, like you're just gonna get thrown in, like to get knocked out. Maybe like the promoter wants the hometown guy to win or something. They have like a star for the show. Okay, we call this guy, he'll come fight. But he shouldn't be fighting pro. The only thing that's holding you back from fighting pro is you actually have to, like, there's a lot of paperwork and it costs money. And it's actually a pain. It's a pain to turn pro. Like amateur is easy. You just go to the fight, you weigh in, you sign some documents, and you pay like maybe a registration fee. But yeah,
got it.
Pro, it's a long process and it's hard. So that's what stops some people. Yeah.
And then pro, you said, is 5 rounds.
It depends. Like right now, there's like some action style shows, so they do 3-round fights, and then like the more traditional style is 5 rounds. So it's like that in the U.S. and here.
Okay.
Like my first professional fight was 3 rounds, but then after that, I started fighting 5 rounds. It depends where you fight.
Got it. And so, what year was your first pro fight?
2018.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
7 years after I left, man. So you were already in it for 10 years at that point.
Yeah, I had a very long amateur career before I even had my first pro fight.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? You're getting your reps in. I'm all about reps on everything.
Yeah.
So how was that? Was there any difference really, like from your last amateur fight to your first pro fight, as far as like, the skill set or the intensity or anything?
The biggest difference was I would say the 3-minute rounds.
Okay.
Like you don't think 2 minutes and 3 minutes, it doesn't sound that different, but in a fight, it's very different. Like I started to notice, like at the end of the round, I'm like, this feels a lot longer. You get tired easier. It feels longer. I would say that's the biggest difference. I mean, most people would say like when they take away the elbow pads and you throw a real elbow, but I don't know. I was already throwing elbows. It's just like without the
Yeah.
pad. So I think the biggest difference was the 3-minute rounds. Like I really felt it, and because I was already fighting no headgear, no shin guards, and throwing elbows. Like there's a few minor differences. Like in amateur, you're not allowed to knee to the head, but in pro, like anything you can knee to the head. But like in amateur, even knees to the head happen on accident, and even if you duck your head and you like do something stupid, like you can get knee to the head and it's your fault. Like they don't take a point away. So it's honestly like if you're a high level amateur, it's about the same because you're going to fight the same people too. The scene in America, if you're a high level amateur, it's like it's all these people, these same people are going to turn pro. So you're almost like fighting the same people and doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised Muay Thai isn't bigger here because I mean we don't have a lot of mainstream combat sports here, right? I mean, boxing is huge, and mixed martial arts in the form of just specific really organizations like UFC is huge, but otherwise not really. I mean, like there's like Olympic and collegiate wrestling, but there isn't really like professional wrestling. Nobody watches professional wrestling. And Muay Thai is a thing, but it's still obscure. It's not in the mainstream. And it should be because like you used the word beautiful several times, and it is. It's a beautiful martial art. I mean, kind of like boxing. It's like just it's almost like a dance if you get two people that are really good.
Yes. But I think it's growing. Like the thing about like UFC and boxing, like they have huge fights, but I think it's peaked, like I don't think it's going to get bigger than it has, but they have like these huge fights every once in a while. Like Muay Thai has room for growth, at least. It can grow. And like I said, the amateur scene and the local scene is growing a lot, especially in California. But I don't know. There's many factors. Like I think people like, even when people watch MMA, you see like they get like casual fans, at least not like the hardcore fans. They get bored when it goes on the ground, or they just want to see knockouts. They want to see blood. They want to see violence. And of course, Muay Thai has that. Like anyone that watches Muay Thai knows it has that. But it's also like very technical. Like I think some people don't understand the scoring and the music and. Like in Thailand, they understand, because it's their sport. But in America, it's not our sport. So there's a lot of room to grow, and it is growing. But it's very hard for like maybe a casual person to understand what's going on in Muay Thai. So I think that holds it back sometimes.
Yeah, and that's how I used to feel about grappling. Like when in the days when I was in Oakland training at Pacific Ring Sports, I would go when there were local fights, and we'd have some fighters there, and a lot of the fights were mixed martial arts fights, and they'd go to the ground, and I'd be like, it's boring. They're just laying on top of each other. But because I can't see these little subtle manipulations that they're trying to do. And now that I've spent years training and grappling myself, like I have a profound appreciation for it. But as an untrained person, I really didn't. I reckon it would be the same for someone with stand-up fighting.
Yeah, I mean, in Muay Thai, there's a lot of clinching, grabbing and like positioning, like. In a fight, it might look boring to like someone in the crowd that knows nothing, but you hear the trainers like really excited, and like maybe you turn someone and throw one side knee, but like it means a lot. It means a lot that you can out technique someone, out grapple them, out strength them. Like it means a lot, even if it's just this tiny little thing that a casual fan might not understand or notice.
Are you sick of replacing your martial arts gear because it falls apart? I highly recommend you switch to Fairtex. Fairtex is based in Bangkok, Thailand, and they are renowned for their exceptional craftsmanship, making it the go-to brand for boxing, Muay Thai, and Fairtex's unique padding and design aren't just for show. They are tested by real fighters and champions who put this equipment through the ringer. I've made the switch to Fairtex, and the difference is night and day. Their gloves and pads are designed to handle the most intense training sessions, offering both durability and superior comfort. So whether you're throwing punches, kicks, or grappling, Fairtex gear stands up to the challenge. Don't keep wasting money on gear that doesn't keep up with your grind. Fairtex's products are a game changer, built to last and perform at the highest level. Head over to primalwellnesscoaching.com/Fairtex. That's Fairtex. primalwellnesscoaching.com/Fairtex, and get the gear that works as hard as you do. Train smart, train with Fairtex, and see the differences for yourself. Upgrade your wellness with the Ringcon Smart Ring, the ultimate all-in-one health tracker that offers comprehensive metrics without the subscription fee. You know what I'm talking about. Track everything from your heart rate and blood oxygen levels to sleep quality and stress index. This ring even monitors your daily steps and workouts, giving you a complete picture of your overall well-being. One of the standout features of the Ringcon Smart Ring for me is its ability to track sleep and movement. It understands your sleep patterns and can help you to optimize your rest, improve recovery, and enhance your overall health. The ring provides detailed insights into your sleep stages, helping you to identify disruptions and make better adjustments for better quality sleep. With improved sleep, as you know, you can then boost your energy levels, cognitive function, and your overall mood. So it is worth tracking your sleep, folks. The Ringcon Smart Ring also excels in tracking your daily movement and workouts. So by monitoring your steps and your activity levels and your exercise routines, it helps you to stay active and to reach your fitness goals. And for those of you that care about this kind of thing, you can actually turn off Bluetooth on the ring, only activating it when you're ready to look at the real-time data in the app on your phone. This way you're not getting hammered with more wireless signals. So don't miss out on optimizing your wellness. Head over to primalwellnesscoaching.com/Ringcon. That's RINGCONN. primalwellnesscoaching.com/Ringcon, and get your Ringcon Smart Ring today. No subscription, just pure health power on your finger. Well, and it's cool, right? It's the art of 8 limbs. So you've got your hands, you got your feet, you got your knees, you got your elbows. So you have a lot more weapons in your arsenal in Muay Thai than like in traditional boxing, where you got your hands and that is all.
Yeah.
And then maybe throw in a little letway and you can start headbutting people.
Yeah.
I saw you did one of those.
So I did that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That is bold. Did you get?
I never thought.
Did you take any headbutts? I forget.
Yeah, I took a few. I actually broke my nose with a headbutt.
Oh.
I tried to kind of throw some in the clinch, but it wasn't my thing. I kind of went in thinking like I'm going to use my Muay Thai because I'm not a left-way fighter, you know. But it's a brutal sport. I don't think it'll be my career path or anything, but the opportunity came up and I was like, why not try one time at least?
Good for you, man.
Yeah. And it was definitely a brutal, maybe one of my most brutal fights I've ever had.
So for people that don't know what letway is, I mean, as I see it, Muay Thai is Thai boxing. Letway is essentially Burmese boxing or Myanmar boxing, right? And it's instead of the art of 8 limbs, it's the art of 9 limbs because it's you use all the same weapons from Muay Thai, but you can also throw headbutts. Like is there? Yeah. And then I read, and I don't know if this is correct, but I think traditionally in letway, the fight didn't end without a knockout, right? Is that correct?
That's the traditional rules, and they still do like that sometimes, or like they end the fight, but it just ends in a draw if you don't knock someone out. So we got a draw. Like it was actually a no contest because some other things happened. Like he hit me on the ground with an illegal strike, but the rules are also a little bit like weird there too. Like it's not clear. Like what he didn't intentionally do something. Like I think in Myanmar, like, and they can do it like that. But this fight was actually in Thailand, even though it was a letway rules fight, and I think the rule set was like a little bit unclear, but it was a draw, and there's a lot of similarities, with Muay Thai. It's just since, for one, you're not wearing gloves, so
just wraps.
There's a little bit, I would say, more emphasis. Yeah. Just hand wraps, just tape and gauze. Okay. So there's a little more emphasis on like your hands, like you're punching. And Muay Thai with the regular gloves, it's more kicking, more clinching, more knee. But I mean, you can still elbow, you can still grab a knee, you can still do everything you can do in Muay Thai. It's just, I think it's less about, I don't want to say this. It's not like insulting. It's actually like I admire these fighters, but it's more about being tough than like your skill. Like it's like how tough you are, how durable you are, because you're getting
Yeah.
headbutted and you're taking punches with no gloves. Like in Muay Thai, if you're wearing gloves, like you might not even get hurt, but you lose a fight on
Right.
skill. And that way, you lose a fight because you get beat
Right.
up,
Yeah.
and you like the other guy's tougher, like and stronger maybe, but there is a skill to it because like I don't know how to headbutt, and like some of these guys they do some crazy headbutts that you would never like I don't even know how to train for that,
Yeah. How
but
do you train for that?
there is a tact, there is a skill to
Yeah.
it, but I would say like some of like the Myanmar fighters, when you see them cross over to Muay Thai, like there's a lot actually in one championship right now, like the Big Show. There's many Myanmar fighters.
Oh, really?
They're just ultra tough though. They're so tough. Like I've seen like better skilled fighters, but their toughness is unmatched.
Wow.
Like they're made of iron and
Yeah.
steel. Like they just keep going.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, that was a total digression. So let's regress back
Yeah.
to your journey. So you went pro.
Yeah.
So at the point that you went pro, is it still kind of just like a side thing you were doing, or were you committing some serious time to that?
At that point, very serious. Like I was helping at that, like teaching at the gym. Like I was helping Ganya with classes.
Nice.
I was teaching the youth class, the kids
Oh,
class.
good for you. Kids are tough.
Yeah, it was hard,
Yeah.
but it was good. At first it was just to like I would help with some classes. Like I talked to Mike, the owner. Like, he's like, Andrew, you don't have to pay membership anymore, but I need you to help me with this class. Okay. But then, I started teaching and I was learning from Ganya the whole time too. Like when we had other fighters, I would go with him to the fight. I was like, he taught me how to corner the fighters. He taught me how to wrap hands, like everything, So I was taking it all in because at that point, I think in my head, I was like, I want to do more with this. So like by the time I was pro, I was already cornering our amateur fighters, our beginners. I was going to all the smokers and PKBs and all that stuff. So I still had my regular job, but I was like 100% in, and I was like looking to get out of my normal job and make this my full time.
Yeah. So did you do that while you were still here in the States?
Yeah. Let's see. Maybe I think the year I turned pro, I quit my job and I started working full time at the gym. So I was helping manage the front desk and being a professional fighter was my job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Totally all in. So I mean, I gotta imagine like that doesn't bring in an abundance of like cash flow, but like was that pretty liberating to just be like, all right, I'm following my passion?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, like managing the gym and like teaching private lessons and doing all that, it's actually decent money.
Privates too. That makes a big difference.
Yes. But professional fighting in the U.S., unless you're like a superstar, is not good money. So like, I was a little bit stressed at first, like, oh, can I do this? Like worried about, but it all worked out. If you like really are passionate about it and you go 100%, I feel like you can make it happen. And I made it happen, but the truth is, like, I was getting tired of being in a gym all day, though. Because you're like, I had to work, and then I had to train, and then it's like, oh, and then there's like sparring class, and I need to then like if I have a fight, then I really have to be there all the time. So there's good and bad. Like the good is you're in the life, you're there, you're doing what you love. Like I never had a day where like you go to the office and a job you don't care about, you're kind of like bored, you're looking at the clock waiting for the day to end. Like I never felt that at the gym. I was always like passionate about something, but it was stressful and it was tiring, and like the hours are weird, different, especially if you're trying to fight. Like there are days where I would get there at like 6 a.m., like open the gym and like help teach the 7 a.m. class, and I would go home at 9 p.m., because I would spar at the advanced class at 8 p.m. And it was like maybe I went and got lunch or like something, but I was there all day.
It is nice to have kind of a separation of things that you do, right, between like work and your hobby, and then maybe your other thing that you're serious about. So yeah, I can see
Yeah.
how like it's amazing when you get to spend all day in a Muay Thai gym, awesome. But then at the same time, you're like, I spend all day every day in a Muay Thai gym.
Yeah, and you start to notice things that, like, when you're just a member, you have fun. You go there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but you start to notice things like that make you like, oh, I want to go home. I want to get out of here. Like anything is going to be
Sure.
like that though, where you're around something for so long.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So okay, so you went pretty much full-time Muay Thai guy around
Yeah.
2018. So how did you then end up in Thailand? How does that work?
So, like, I would say the main reason at first was because, like I told you, professional Muay Thai is like, it's not too good in the U.S. It's hard to stay busy. It's hard to stay active. Like my first year turning pro, I only fought 2 times, and I was trying to fight a lot.
Yeah.
I was trying to fight I never took a break. I was trying to fight the whole time.
So it's a lot of training for a little bit of like action.
Yeah, and so like then the next year I fought. So 2019 I fought again. I fought in Los Angeles, and I was like, I was in this weird, like, I don't want to say like no man's land, but like I had 3 pro fights. So like someone making their pro debut didn't want to fight me, because they want to like win their pro debut. And then also the people with like 20 or more fights, they didn't want to fight me because it was like, what do I get? I'm supposed to beat this guy, like, and if I don't, I look bad, So I was kind of stuck. I was having trouble finding fights, and there weren't that many to begin with. So in my head, I was planning to come over here. I was like, like if I come over here, I can fight a lot. I can get more experience. I was already planning it then, but I hadn't fully figured out what I wanted to do. But like the plan at first was to at least like, okay, go to Thailand maybe 3 months or 6 months and get a couple fights. So like when I come home, I can fight those guys.
Oh,
Like the 20 plus fights, because with 3 or 4 fights, they didn't care to fight me. And honestly, I didn't deserve to fight them for like a big title or anything like that. So I wanted to get experience. I didn't plan on staying here long term. I was just going to come back home and fight after I got some experience here.
So what happened? You liked it, or you liked the opportunity, or you liked the food? What?
So I came in the beginning of 2020. I went to Chiang Mai. I was actually up north in a different part of Thailand, and I was training, and I fought one time.
You got up there right at the start of the pandemic?
Yeah, so like it was right before, and then the pandemic happened. So I went home.
Okay, so you had one fight, then pandemic, you came back home.
Yeah, so like that really messed up a lot of things for me, as it did for everyone. But like for fighters, it was really bad because the gyms weren't even. It wasn't even just there were no fights; the gyms weren't open.
I remember working with the guy that my friend who owns the Krav Maga studio where I teach here, and like it was just like it was a constant brainstorming session to figure out what we could do to like keep the gym from dying.
Yes, that was happening the same for us at home. But I was like, I didn't know how long that would last. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had full intention of coming back here because I was only in Thailand for maybe like 3 weeks. And I knew that wasn't enough. Like I fought one time. I needed to come back. I wanted to do extended stay. I was like saving my money. I was working a lot and saving like, okay, maybe I stay for 3 to 6 months, like that was the plan. And I actually didn't even want to come to Phuket. Like I was going to go back up to Chiang Mai. I'm in Phuket right now, which is in the south. And I just heard like, I don't know, like I heard like mixed reviews, I would say, about Phuket. Like, because I had a lot of friends in Chiang Mai and they love it up there. So like, it's very different than Phuket. Phuket, it's very hot and there's beaches everywhere. There's many foreigners. Like Chiang Mai is a little more quiet, a little more like mountains, like a little more chill, There's of course many foreigners, but it's not like here. Like there's a ton of foreigners here. So some people were telling me, Andrew, don't go there. It's not good. It's not good. So, but during the pandemic, they had this thing where like it doesn't make sense now, but back then you had to quarantine in your hotel room for
Right.
1 week. But if you went to Phuket, you didn't have to. You could stay in Phuket.
Okay.
Like, your quarantine could be in
The whole
Phuket.
city is your quarantine
So, like,
zone? Nice.
yeah, so you could go train, you could go eat. So I was like, okay, I'm going to Thailand. They opened up, like you can get in now. I'm going to go to Phuket first because I'm not going to sit in a hotel room for 1 week or whatever. So I was like, okay, if I don't like it, then I'll go back to Chiang Mai or maybe go somewhere else, Bangkok or something. But I'll go there, I'll do my week, and if I like it, I'll stay. You know, and I just ended up loving my gym and everything here, so I stayed. But even then, I was like, I had plans of going home after 3 or 6 months. I still, even when I came here, it was the beginning of 2022, like February 2022. I didn't plan on staying as long as I did.
2.5 years later, you're still there.
That's the loose, like short version of how I got here and why.
So, just out of curiosity, as someone that loves travel and has tried to like live in different places, how do you even get a visa to stay there?
So just getting in the country is easy. Like if you're staying short term, it's really easy. You just fly in and they'll give you. Back then they were giving 45 days, and then like last year they were giving 30, but now they're giving 60. So like you can come in for a couple months and then you can go to immigration and extend. So say you want to come for 3 months, you don't have to do anything. You just have to come in and then go to immigration at some point and extend. But if you want to stay long term, they have like a lot of like options. You can do a 1-year education visa. You can do business visa. They're starting it's called a Muay Thai visa.
There's going to be a Muay Thai visa. Wow.
They already have it. It's like the rules aren't the same across the board, and like you need approval from some gyms. So like my gym like isn't approved for the Muay Thai visa, but I think maybe soon we will be. There's options, you know, you can do visa runs, like you can take a bus ride or a car ride over the border and you go to like Malaysia and get a stamp and come back the same day. You can do things like that. There's many options, but if you're only planning on coming for a couple months, you don't need a visa or anything.
Got it.
Yeah,
I'm always curious because it's particularly hard for Americans to go places and stay places because America doesn't make it easy for people to come here and do that. So I've found that in my my travels and my exploration of, you know, are there places I can go easily and just stay for a long time?
Yeah, it's here Thailand. Like, I mean, I think the economy is based on tourism, so like they welcome tourists. You know, they want tourists here. It's like the biggest part of their way to make money, and people love coming here. But if you're here for a long term and if they know you're like a fighter, like you might have some problems. Like I've had many issues with my visa and my passport and in and out. Like, but if you're just a tourist that's coming for a couple months, they love you.
Got it.
Know? You can do what you want. But someone like me who's like living here and like technically making money off them fighting, like I'm like they're not a big fan of me. Like the Muay Thai people, they love me, but like the immigration, people like me, they're kind of like we're the ones they don't like. You know.
Got it. So
yeah.
So you're hoping for that Muay Thai visa?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options, you know, I can do, but I've had many headaches, so I'll just say.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how hard was it to acclimate to, you know, just one, like living in a place that is so completely foreign, and then two, like, I guess training in the culture of, you know, how they train in Thailand versus here?
Yeah, it was very hard. That's why, like, some people, they only come for a couple of weeks, and I tell them, like, if they want to fight, it's honestly, it's not enough. Like, it takes a long time to really get used to it. If you just come for vacation, no problem, you know. But if you want to, like, actually fight and, like, do something, you need at least a few weeks to acclimate. And I'm going to say it more like a month because, like, the heat, like, training at home is so much different. Like even if you train hard at home, the weather, it's like it's brutal
Yeah,
here. You know, even when it's raining, it's humid. The culture, the food, you know, everything. Like it's easy to get sick if you're a foreigner and you're used to like, you know, American food and everything's just different.
Yeah.
So like it's not just training. Like you have to get used to everything. Lifestyle's different. Like everything.
Yeah.
Everything is different, but in a way it's like it's better. Like in the US everything is so busy, you know, you're working, you're doing this, there's a million things going on in your head, you're multitasking. In Thailand it's more chill, it's more like go with the flow. They call it sabai, like relax, it's okay. Nice. You know, like which I've learned, you know, in the US something would happen, I would be stressed out, but now I learned to go with the flow.
That's
better.
Amazing. That sounds very healthy mentally.
Yeah, it is, but then, you know, Thailand, there's their drawbacks too, but I would say that's one really positive thing about Thailand. And it was very hard to acclimate though, and the training is harder. You know, you're training twice a day. If you want to live the fighter lifestyle, you're training in the morning and the afternoon. And at home, maybe you're working a job and then you go to the gym after or before work. Here, it's different. It's brutal, and they train you harder, much harder. Like, and we've had Thai trainers at home, but it's different. They train you much harder here.
Yeah, I never did get out there for a training camp, and I remember when I was training at Pacific Ring Sports, there was a couple people that did it, and I didn't really understand how it worked. Like, how do you find a place, and as some person that you know doesn't speak Thai and it's from a different country, how could I just show up there and start training? But it seems like it's actually not an uncommon thing at all. A lot of people go there for these training camps.
Very, very common, especially here in Phuket. Like, there's so many gyms. Like, this street, like where I live, the famous gym is Tiger Muay Thai. So like many people go there. It's like it's a world famous gym, but there's so many gyms everywhere. Yeah. So, you know, if you want a smaller gym, family gym, you can do that. If you want the big gym, the famous gym, you can do that. You want a full Thai gym, you can do that. You want a foreigner gym, you can do that.
Nice. Yeah. So how are your Thai language skills now, 2.5 years later?
Thai people would say not good, but I think it's okay. Like they call it nit noi. It means a little bit. Like I think it's okay. I'm learning. I think I understand better than I can speak it. Like when my trainers are talking, I kind of understand what they're saying.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I'm not like fully confident to have a conversation. Like I understand, like obviously, like Muay Thai things and food and stuff like that. But I'm still learning.
I don't speak any languages fluently besides English, but I speak a little bit of several languages, and I have familiarity with many languages. But Thai, man, I mean, there are so many words that have so many syllables. There are some really long words.
Yes. Yeah, the names are really hard. You know, that's why like they all have nicknames too. They don't go by their full.
Oh, right.
Their full name. Yeah. They have like their birth name, their fighter name, their trainer name. They're like, what do they have? Like 4 names, you know?
So do you have a special name, or are you just Andrew?
I'm just Andrew.
Boring, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I cannot make a name for myself, and they haven't made a name.
Too bad. You haven't earned your name yet. You got to earn your name.
Well, sometimes you don't want them to make a name for you because they're crazy. Like they'll make something you don't want, or something like kind of like many people at the gym. They have nicknames for you know, like you don't want that nickname for
got
sure.
It.
Yeah. Yeah, they're crazy. They're crazy for sure.
So you just had a fight a few days ago and you won. That fight, it was there in Thailand, right?
Yeah, in Phuket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And you were fighting a guy from Italy. Or
he's actually
he's
from
Italian, right?
England. Okay. So I think he has an Italian passport, but he's from the UK. He has a UK accent. He's actually a really nice guy. We talked a little bit, but it was a hard fight. Like the show's called Patong Fight Night, so it's like in this area called Patong in Phuket, but it's like I would say it's probably the biggest show in Phuket. You know, it's on TV, it's on Channel 5, and you have to cut weight and do weigh-ins in the morning and fight the same night.
Yeah. And it's on
Yeah.
YouTube Live, so I was
But
actually able to watch your fight like live, which is pretty cool.
oh, wow,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it was a hard fight. 5 rounds, a lot of back and forth, a lot of technique. But I'm happy. Like, there's of course a lot of things I could have done better.
yeah, sure.
But I'm happy to win. I got the belt and won on TV, and my trainers are happy, and my friends are happy. Everyone's happy. So,
Right on.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just curious. So he's from England then. So
Yeah.
so was he just there for like a training camp and he stayed to fight, or is this sort of like an international place where people come from other countries to fight specifically?
Yeah, I think he's similar to me. I don't know how long he's staying or how long he's been here, but I know he's been here for a
Okay.
while because he's been fighting at all the local stadia, like a lot. He's won local titles, and I don't know how long, but I saw he's had at least maybe 5 or 6 fights here
Okay.
already, So maybe not as long as me, but he's here,
Yeah.
doing something.
Right.
Yeah, which is most of the foreign fighters you see on like bigger shows. They're like that.
Oh, okay.
If you fight on a smaller show, a local show, you might only be here for a month.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to do things, you probably have committed to being here for a
Right.
while.
So is it mostly Thai fighters then that are in the bigger shows?
Yeah. It depends. Like I said, they have those 3-round action style shows. Like a lot of those shows are usually Thai versus foreigner.
Yeah.
But like the really big, famous, old school, like traditional shows are usually Thai versus Thai,
Okay.
and occasionally like some of the best foreigners can make their way in there.
Okay.
But like the action style shows right now are really popular. So like there's actually more. I think more than ever famous foreign fighters here right now. There's a lot of famous foreign fighters, but there's still like. You go to a fight in Thailand, it's still mostly Thais, obviously, but it depends what style show you go to and what you're looking for.
It's not just Chalk D.
No, yeah. Like, if you go maybe like to the countryside, it's going to be only Thai people. But the closer you get to the city, like, you're going to get a lot of different things.
Yeah. So what's your plan?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a plan? Like, fight till you stay there and fight till you're going to retire, or what? What are you thinking?
Pretty much. I don't like to put like a time limit on something, but I know it's coming close. It's closer to ending than it is starting. So like I lost a couple fights earlier this year, so I was kind of like, maybe it's time to slow down, But I won this fight, and I won some other fights, and I felt like not reinvigorated, but just I felt better. There are a couple, like, I don't want to make excuses, but one fight I was like really sick. Another fight I had a bad weight cut, and it was just like things just weren't lining up. But now they're kind of lining up again, and I feel good. So I want to keep pushing. At least till the end of the year. And see where it goes. But now the fact that I've done a lot here has actually helped me. I'm ranked in like the WBC like professional rankings now in the US. So like I can maybe come home and fight for a WBC belt, something like that. Maybe that's kind of like the loose plan. Like maybe keep fighting here. If I get an offer for a big WBC fight at home, come home and fight at home, and then go from there. Maybe see like if I want to stop fighting or what I want to do. But that's kind of like my loose plan now.
Yeah. I like that you got an open mind, right? You just kind of, you see how you feel and what opportunities present themselves. How many, just out of curiosity, how many professional fights do you have now?
I think, let's see.
Or rough number.
30, 35, 36 or something like that. Yeah, something around that. And then 20, 22 amateur.
Okay. Holy smokes.
So I'm at 50 plus now. It's a lot.
How's your body?
I only had 4 pro fights in a couple years at home. I've had 30.
That's a lot of pro fights in 2.5 years.
Yes. It's a lot. I've been very active. I'm lucky, but very active.
How's your body?
Yeah. I'm feeling it for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, like, you can see like my nose is. You have had a broken nose, so my nose is crooked. I have many cuts, many scars now, but I haven't had any really serious injuries like broken nose, broken thumb. That's it.
Oh wow.
So I'm pretty lucky, but my body, I'm definitely feeling it. I think it's more just age than anything else, you know. Like, but I have a lot of miles, a lot of wear and tear now. Like I'm a full blown veteran. I never thought I would do this, you know, but I'm okay. Like I can train hard still, and I'm not in pain.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, that's the main thing, right? Like, I mean, I haven't done any of what you do, and I've got pain all the time. So, so good for you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have pain, but it's like normal, you know, the normal. I don't have any like serious
debilitating
problems.
pain.
I would say that the thing that bothers me the most is sometimes I have trouble breathing. Like at night, I'm like my nose is closed up, and I'm like snoring. Maybe like my girlfriend's like, shut up, you know. But
you know,
sometimes I'm breathing heavy. But
funny, after my first 2 broken noses were at Pacific Ring Sports. So that was a long time ago. My last broken nose was just a couple years ago, and it was in a Krav Maga test, and it wasn't my test. I was the instructor. So I was running a test, and it was a long test. I had a couple of ladies testing for their blue belts, and it's like a, I don't know, 6 or 7 hour test. So it's a long day, and it was the very last drill of their test. They're going hot and heavy on the bags with just basic strikes, just palm strikes, some kicks, whatever, and then attackers come in and attack them with knives, pistols, chokes, just Krav Maga stuff. And so I came in with I think with a knife or something, and she comes in and she's doing her self-defense technique, and part of that involves kind of gripping me in the back of the head and bringing my face down to her knee. And usually it's a controlled movement, but this one, 7 hours into her fatigue, she just smashed that knee right into the middle of my face. And so anyway, after that healed up, I had trouble breathing as well. And so I went and saw a ear, nose, and throat specialist here, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're a great candidate for a septoplasty, where they correct the septum, right, the deviated septum, and line up those nasal passageways." She's like, "But don't do it if you're still going to get hit in the nose, because it makes your nose more fragile, and if you get hit in the nose, it may not heal right, and you may not be able to fix it right." Like, well, shit, because I still train and I still teach, and I got these little kids that headbutt me in the face all the time. So I guess I'm not doing that anytime soon.
Yeah, I think I have to do that when I stop fighting too.
Yeah. Oh well.
I have to deal with it for now.
Yeah. Well, your girl, you have to deal with your girlfriend giving you a hard time for your snoring. There are definitely.
She's very supportive.
Yeah. Is it hard for her to be out there watching you you just get in the ring and duke it out?
Yeah, she's not like really into Muay Thai, like, I mean, she likes it. She likes when I fight, but it's not her thing. So, like, of course, like the blood and the violence, sometimes she's kind of like, ugh. But, when I win, she's really happy, and she wants me to pursue my dream, wants me to be happy.
That's amazing.
So,
I remember back in 2009, I think I went to Thailand just for a very short vacation. And I went and watched some fights at Lumpini in Bangkok. And the main bout, the camera kept going to the wife or girlfriend or whatever of one of the fighters, and she was just standing there like this the whole time, just covering her face. Yeah,
it's funny too. You'd think like everyone in Thailand loves Muay Thai and like they understand it, but it's not. It's still like, it's the people that love it, but many like regular people, they don't understand it, or they don't care about it. Like same like in America, maybe like you meet someone like you think they all love football, but it's like they don't care about football. Like it's the same here, you know, and like like I would say right now it's really popular, but it goes in waves too. Like Muay Thai right now in Thailand is in a really good spot, but in a couple of years it might die down a little bit and then come back.
I mean, that's.
But I came at the right time. I just wish I was younger and had more time, but I came at the right time. I think
it's kind of like I think about like boxing here, right? Like when Pacquiao and Mayweather were like in their prime, like boxing was huge, and then they got a little older, and there isn't a new Pacquiao or a new Mayweather, and so boxing is just not as huge at the moment. But at some point,
every sport, every sport needs a superstar.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, Andrew, this has been amazing. It's really cool to see you. Like when I stumbled across you on social media through Pacific Ring Sports, I think like it was amazing to see you come up, and like you look completely different than when we used to train together. Like you said, you dropped a bunch of weight, you grew a beard, you got a bunch of tattoos, you turned into a total badass. But like
I'm still the same. Just in better shape, I guess, but still the same.
But yeah, it's super cool to see you. It's really cool to catch up, and I'm happy that you're chasing the dream, man. Like most people would, they don't have the courage for that. So good for you, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. But it's just like more like friends talking.
For sure. Up. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna keep up with your progress over there. So I'll be checking back and see how things go.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right.
Okay. See you.